So let us step into that moment right here, right now, taking that breath. So grateful to be present right here, right now. So last week we had the privilege of hearing from our very own Julie Jones Hamilton, kicking off Rocktober, our Prosperity Month. And she introduced us to these kind of universal spiritual principles or these spiritual laws about prosperity and abundance. So in this teaching, we talk about how there's laws that govern the universe, just like gravity. And these laws work the same for everyone, whether we are conscious of them or not. So the invitation is to pay attention and consciously work in alignment and in flow with these spiritual laws. So, for example, the law of circulation. Knowing that as we give, we receive, for it is all in one flow. So Julie invited us to consider ways to activate prosperity in our lives. And today we are going to continue on this theme with talking about the powerful practice of gratitude and how gratitude occurs in this now moment. So I invite you first to consider what is your most important asset. And just see what comes to mind. Now, some things may be your investments or your child or something you love or have. But what Eric Butterworth in this book of the month, Spiritual Economics, the Prosperity Process, invites us to consider is that, in fact, our most important aspect is what he terms conscious control of your inner world, mind, and emotions. Now, I notice I have a little hiccup with the word control. Just putting it out there. But I would rephrase this to say the fact that we are conscious creators, right? So choice. We are always at choice. And this is our greatest asset because when we realize that we live in a spiritual universe of pure potentiality, that there is this power for good in the universe, and we can use it, for it uses us by working through us as us. When we recognize this truth, we see where our true power lives in the conscious choice of how we direct our thoughts, our words, and our actions. Conscious control of your inner world, mind, and emotions. In other words, being mindful, right? I say often, awareness is key. Where is your attention? For there is your intention. And where you focus the majority of your energy in your inner world, as well as what you are saying and doing, this energy goes forth, and the law always says yes, and therefore responds to you. And the events and circumstances and the effects of our life is simply a reflection of that. So our greatest asset is the realization that we have this conscious choice and we have the ability to shape our world through our attention and intention. And truly, life only happens in this now eternal moment. For in each moment where we are vibrating, what we are resonating becomes the next experience. And although, in our concept, in our mind, we kind of see it as linear, what we're learning through new discoveries in quantum physics and whatnot is that it's not quite so linear, and it's kind of a little bit more like this. But in any moment, why we call it the eternal now moment, we can shift our vibration. We can focus on those qualities of truth, such as abundance and love and peace, and that informs our vibration and creates that ripple effect, not only in our own lives, but on behalf of the entire collective. So I often say that gratitude is like a spiritual magnet. Gratitude is this magnetic force that when we generate this attitude of gratitude, it attracts to us all that we desire. Because really what's happening, it's kind of like a tuning fork, right? We become tuned through gratitude to a certain frequency, and then the world around us begins to match that frequency so that we become a vibrational match for that which we desire by focusing on it. And then what shows up around us is that reflected. An authentic attitude of gratitude allows us to remain in this eternal now moment, because really what gratitude is the awareness that all of our needs and desires are met in God, in the universe, in spirit, in the center of pure beingness, which exist in the now moment. When you take a moment to generate gratitude, to turn your mind from the chit-chat and clutter, that monkey mind we also often refer to it as, and bring it back to appreciation and thanksgiving and gratitude, it also brings us back to this now moment. And we begin to see that what we appreciates, yes? Giving thanks allows us to align with that frequency of what we desire to receive. Gratitude is like this cosmic ideal that many mystic teachers throughout the ages have talked about as the key to experiencing prosperity. And prosperity being that expression of the quality of abundance in our lives. In fact, over 2,500 years ago, Plato said, "A grateful mind is a great mind, which eventually attracts to itself great things," right? So we're familiar with these sayings, right? Gratitude, thanksgiving, what I appreciate appreciates. And yet, we can easily get caught up in the world and forget the simple practice of tuning our vibration back to that energetic frequency or that resonance of gratitude. And in that place of gratitude, we are in harmony with the flow of life. And then when we begin to appreciate what we appreciate, so say for example, you wake up kind of in a funky mood. You get an email, you open mail, you hear something that kind of, We are always at choice, our most precious asset. So you can choose to go down that rabbit hole and problem solve or dwell or worry on this information you received. Think about that story we heard in the reading, right? The man was given a terminal diagnosis. He didn't skip a beat. Today, we have Google, and we would go, raise your hand, I know, I'm telling myself, and research all the things. What does this mean? What could possibly happen? And then we're filling our minds with all of these possibilities that are most likely not that which we desire, yes? So, if we choose, because our most important asset is what? Conscious choice, yes. That's a, I know. So if we choose in that moment to say, stop it, and to tune our frequency to that of gratitude, we can begin to get back in that flow of life, because life itself, the universe, is always there, seeking to express through us. And then we begin to recognize more opportunities. So for me, a very helpful way to turn it around, right? First is just to catch my mind and say, hey, stop it. I literally out loud say, okay, rainbow, right? Just talk to myself. What are you doing? What are you thinking about? Pause. Yes. Hit that reset button. Ah, right. Yes, right? So we have many techniques to do this once we catch ourselves, right? Stop it. Blah. And then we can choose to pick up a book and just open it for a little spiritual food. We could choose to take 3 deep breaths, to go outside, just put our bottoms on the ground or hug a tree. Get grounded, right? How powerful that is, because that literally puts us back into that vibration of Mother Earth and that wholeness, right? Another idea, turn on a song. There's music now on YouTube you can even look up that are different frequencies for different things. You know, what's the frequency of abundance? And then play a song and you can vibe at that. Or whatever your favorite song is that gets you out of your own funk, right? Move your body, stretch, dance, do something. Especially if you find yourself physically stuck, right? Just moving the body can help. Cold water, yes. Drink a glass of cold water, splash it on your face. If you have a pond or something, go jump in it, I don't know. So all of these things are tools that we have to shift us. But the true power is the fact that within us resides the universe. And so when we use these tools to shift our minds and our emotions back to this now moment, and to align with that vibration of wholeness and love and abundance and gratitude, to come back into this now moment, we open to so many more opportunities. Consider an experiment. Last month we talked about surrender and the experiment of just saying yes to whatever comes your way. So this month, what if we were to consider the experiment of focusing our intention to tune to appreciating the beauty and the abundance all around us, so evident in nature, especially this time of year, the abundance of acorns on the ground, the leaves that are falling, the abundance. And when we tune our attention to that, be open to see and attract from that place. Set the intention, I'm going to go for a walk, and be open to spirit moving through me. And perhaps an idea comes, perhaps you're in the flow and you run into someone that says, hey, hey, I've been meaning to reach out to you about this thing, or did you hear about this or that? Or you go on YouTube and your algorithm, which is an expression of spirit as well, pops a video up that is leading you exactly to hear what you need to hear that day. So the now moment is where pure potential lives, becomes alive, all the things. As opposed to when our mind wants to go to the future, there's the fear and the anxiety, or perhaps even more of those egoic ambitions of, I should do this or this or this. Or if we find ourselves more leaning towards the past, where there's the lack, the shame, the doubt. So when we catch ourselves in either of those places, snap out of it, press pause, reset, use one of those tools, and then cultivate a consciousness of gratitude. Because a consciousness of gratitude cannot thrive in the future's grasp or the past regrets. Only in this now moment does true peace reside. And when we open to the now moment, all of the possibilities, what some call that field of infinite possibilities, come clear. It's not like they weren't ever there. We just have eyes to see them. We are, like that tuning fork, tuned in such a way that we can see the new possibility. I have a number of books on prosperity and abundance from various spiritual teachers, so I got them all out around my space, and I invite you to do the same. In our lending library, we have the one in the community room, tall bookshelf, a whole shelf of different books on prosperity. And I opened to one this morning by Michael Beckwith. And he reminded us that we are not here to accumulate material things, but to fulfill the soul's desire through creative self-expression. And that gratitude attracts more of what we desire because it helps us shift our perspective and open our eyes to the abundance that is already around us. Gratitude guides us to use our gifts and our talents in the world and allows us to prosper in ways that are aligned with our fullest potential. Yes. And Eric Butterworth, I'm just going to read this section because it was just too good. And I was like, I'm just going to read it. He reminds us that to pray for prosperity out of a sense of complaint or discouragement is to effectively compound the problem. You may pray for improved financial conditions, but if you are feeling poor, your feeling is the consciousness you will be projecting. So I'll pause here, right? So this kind of feels like a catch-22, right? It's like, well, I'm feeling poor. That's why I need to pray for prosperity, because that's where I'm at. But then he's saying, if I pray from this place, I'm just going to get more of that. What do I do? What do I do? Let's see what he says. The grateful heart. Here's the key. The grateful heart draws to itself great things. The ungrateful heart draws to itself discouraged, complaining, covetous level of thought, and will draw itself limited things. And Theodore Roosevelt used to say, do what you can with what you have where you are. So begin not with subtle resistance for what you do not have, but with what you have. He suggests perhaps a job, no matter how inadequate, some money, even if you're down to the last proverbial last penny. Get the view from the top. Seek a higher perspective. And remember that in truth, there is abundance everywhere, so give thanks. This is not to say you should give thanks for a job that is unpleasant or for the last penny if your supply is totally inadequate. That would be to kid yourself and to be intellectually dishonest. Many people can become confused at this point and misunderstand the statement, and this is quoting Paul, give thanks always for all things. And Butterworth rephrases this to say, give thanks in all things. The job is not a symbol of misfortune, and the penny is not a symbol of lack. Both are evidence of the activity of spirit manifesting in part. So you give thanks not for these things, but from the awareness that there is always an all-sufficiency, even within the insufficiency. So think about this a moment. What is the distinction between give thanks for all things or in all things give thanks, right? So no matter what is occurring in your life, if you are feeling that sense of lack, the key is to turn to gratitude, that grateful heart, and not to use gratitude by looking outside yourself and finding something out there to be grateful for, but in all things give thanks. Wherever you are, start where you're at. It doesn't matter. Right where you are, in all things, give thanks. Generate that grateful heart because it is who you are, for the nature of abundance that is the very essence of life. So you get that distinction, right? We're not giving thanks for things, and we're not looking for something out there to be grateful for to help us feel better. We are generating it from within by being grateful, by tuning to the spiritual truth of abundance. And then when we begin to feel that shift in our energy, in our vibration, from there, we set our intentions and we pray. And we tune to the frequency of pure abundance and open to prosperity flowing in our lives in all ways. In all things, give thanks. Say that with me. In all things, give thanks. Yes. So this week I invite you to practice living in an attitude of gratitude, generating this from within. There's many tools you're probably familiar with. You can do a gratitude journal, use your gratitude affirmations, text a friend every morning. What are you grateful for? Post on social media. Surround yourself, fill yourself with the messages of the vibration that you desire to experience. Pick up some books in the library, in the Linden Library, or in our bookstore today, and live a life rooted in gratitude in this present moment, because from that awareness, we tune ourselves to have eyes to see the abundance that is always around, and to be the vessel of fulfilling that abundance through our very life. Despite any external circumstances, we can always, in all things, give thanks by turning back to this now moment and remembering the truth of who we are, yes? Allowing Spirit to reveal itself through the fullness of life, yes? All right, so let's take that into prayer. So I open my heart right here, right now, to love and gratitude. So grateful for the abundant nature of life. So grateful to recognize this one life expressing itself in, as, and through all things, as love, as wholeness, as prosperity. Knowing that this one life is the very essence of who I am. For there is only one. I know that abundance and freedom is my birthright. That wholeness is the very essence of my being. And as I step into this awareness with conscious intention, I open myself to receive all that I desire. I consciously allow my vibration to resonate with that of pure abundance. Tuning my heart and my mind to this eternal truth. Allowing all that I desire to be expressed and experienced through me in the ways that I consciously choose. So grateful that I'm always at choice. And that pure potentiality resides around and within me. So I choose this day to align my vibration with that of pure abundance, recognizing and appreciating the good that is all around me and knowing that that too I am. Knowing that in this eternal now moment, all my needs and desires are met. That I live in the overflow of life itself. That Spirit, that God is the source and substance of all supply. And that too is true for me. So I open my heart to be grateful in all things, to be grateful, for that is the very nature of life. So I'm so grateful now to speak this word on behalf of myself and all those hearing the sound of my voice, all those in need of this word this day, lifting the vibration to that of pure abundance, of freedom, of creativity, of possibility. I am so grateful as I release my word into the action of the law that always says, yes, my beloved, it is done, and it is so. And together we say, and so it is, yes.